In the top stories, 3 more positive COVID-19 cases, total now at 78. No identity yet on bones found in Grenada, and EU Economic Commissioner urges member states to keep spending to maintain recovery. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Friday, the 4th of June 2021. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, following Chief Medical Officer Dr. Hazel Law's announcement on Thursday afternoon of 1 additional positive COVID-19 case, St. Kitts and Nevis has recorded 3 more cases, bringing the national total to 78. According to a statement from the Office of the Chief Medical Officer, these new cases are nationals and are in isolation at a COVID-19 certified facility. These cases bring the total number of COVID-19 confirmed cases to 78, with 64 cases for St. Kitts and 14 cases for Nevis. 51 cases have fully recovered with 0 deaths, and there are now 27 active cases. These patients are stable and are being monitored. Cabinet will observe the first anniversary of the Team Unity Coalition's 2020 general elections victory by worshipping at the Wesley Methodist Church, Seaton Street in Basse-Terre on Sunday. The Team Unity Coalition of the People's Labour Party, People's Action Movement and the Nevis-based Concerned Citizens Movement recorded its second victory in the June 5, 2020 elections, winning 9 of the 11 contested parliamentary seats. According to information out of government headquarters, the Team Unity government will use Sunday's service to demonstrate its thanks and appreciation to the people for their show of confidence, and will also seek to invoke God's grace and mercies on the Federation, particularly at this time when St. Kitts and Nevis is forced to deal with the fallout of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. All COVID-19 safety protocols will be in place and will be enforced at Sunday's service. The service will be carried live on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM, ZIZ TV Channel 5, and online at www.zizonline.com, as well as the Facebook and YouTube platforms of the St. Kitts Nevis Information Service and ZIZ. 16 Calypsonians on Nevis have registered to compete against the reigning senior Kaiso King Hollywood for the Culturama 47 crown. According to Executive Director of the Nevis Culturama Secretariat and Chairman of the Nevis Culturama Committee, Antonio Abernathy-Liebert, this year's contenders are a mix of seasoned performers and some younger talent, including the son of the reigning monarch. The Kaisonians entering the competition this year are King Astro, King Disendat, Baker, Badman Polo, Pupa Wheeler, Nutsy, Enforcer, Mighty Wingy, Suki, King Irwin, Mighty Cairo, The Undertaker, Lady Destiny, Bahaula the Meek, and Kido. He said the Calypsonians began rehearsals with the All-Star Calypso Band on Saturday, May 29 at the Nevis Cultural Complex. The All-Star Calypso Band will be led by Nigel Numpy Williams of St. Kitts, and this year will include some additional players from St. Kitts, as well as Wingrove Hicks on trumpet, Alex Condell on alto saxophone, and Orrin Roberts on trombone. 3 Calypso tents have been scheduled for June 19, June 26, and July 3 at the David Freeman Center of Excellence. The tents will be streamed online free of cost on the Nevis Culturama Festival social media platforms. Regionally, remains found in Grenada 6 months ago have still not been identified, nor have authorities made any headway in the case of a missing woman. Christina John of GBN News reports.
4 months after the discovery of bones of a human body in the bushes at Mardi Gras was made by a puppy belonging to one Ian Julian on January 19, 2021, GBN contacted the Community Relations Department for an update following a promised investigation into the findings. However, our news desk was told that to date, the situation remains the same and that once there are any changes as such, the general public will be informed. Several lawmen, including members of the Criminal Investigation Department and a pathologist, were on the scene. Meanwhile, the disappearance of Cecilia Mongo of Mardi Gras St. George remains a mystery. No one to date has come forward with any evidence of her whereabouts. Karen Mongo was called to the scene by police officers after the discovery as a means of identifying any particulars that may belong to the missing woman. However, it remains unknown whether the remains match that of her mother. Just after 1 p.m., police received a report from Mardi Gras resident Ian Julian, the owner of the dog, after the animal discovered the bones of a human body in the bushes where he went to tie out his sheep. Julian said he was thinking about training the pup to hunt when the discovery was made. The forensic evidence was collected, which may suggest or confirm the identity of the remains. Christelina John, GBN News.
Following the stabbing death of a student at the government high school in the Bahamas, another injured student has been placed on suicide watch. Counseling services are in place for teachers and other students traumatized. Eyewitness News has this report.
In other news tonight, the survivor of a school stabbing at Government High School last month is currently under suicide watch. This according to Minister of Education Jeffrey Lloyd. 15-year-old Kem Paul, an 11th grade student, was stabbed to death in the corridor of the school's campus, and another male student also stabbed following that altercation with two others during their lunch break. 2 teen boys have already been charged. Now, during his budget communication yesterday, Lloyd said the ordeal has left teachers and students scarred, and his ministry, he says, has implemented a unit to assist with counseling.
I understand this week there will be a memorial service for the young man who was murdered. It is very sad. Visited with the family. The story goes, as some of you may now know, that the survivor was the actual target of the attack and happened to escape. And that survivor is now under, I may say so most respectfully, suicide watch, because he feels so bad that he, the intended victim, in a sense, his friend with whom he lived, and I understand cousin, gave his life. So we have 2 families that are now suffering, and there were homeroom teachers who were obviously close to these young men that themselves are going through certain traumatic reactions.
Internationally, Brussels wants EU countries to keep investing and spending in order to maintain the recovery from the pandemic. Rules on deficit control and public debt will remain suspended until 2022 to facilitate this. Here's Euronews with this report.
The EU is urging member states to keep investing and spending as a means to drive economic recovery from the COVID-era recession. As part of this, the rules on deficit control and public debt will remain suspended during 2022 and won't be reactivated until 2023. Commissioner for the Economy, Paolo Gentiloni, says member states should avoid an early withdrawal of support and make full use of the recovery fund.
The message we are sending is that we are to keep the supportive fiscal stance in our economies in 21 and in 22. Because indeed the recovery is underway. We have a brighter outlook for our economies, but we should avoid the mistake that was made in previous crises to be too quick in restricting the policy support.
The Commissioner also says the EU needs to learn from the mistakes of the past, in particular the banking crisis, when austerity damaged societies and the lives of citizens.
For sure, the mistake was to have too slow common reaction, and in this case it was very quick. And second, to go back to fiscal consolidation too soon. And this created this double-dip recession in Europe. Now, of course, we should be concerned of high level of debt and cautious in increasing the burden of current expenditure, but this in a framework of persisting support to our economies.
The bloc €750 billion rescue fund will soon start its disbursements to the hardest hit sectors and member states in a drive to improve economies beyond the position they were in before the pandemic. Shona Murray, Euronews.
Pakistan opened up its COVID vaccination campaign to everyone aged 19 or older as it scrambles to protect more of its 220 million people. Pakistan initially had to deal with vaccination hesitancy and a shortage of vaccine supplies and had limited shots to people aged 30 or over. Fraser Jackson of France 24 News reports.
In Islamabad, an overwhelming sense of relief as people wait their turn to get their COVID vaccine. This week, Pakistan opened its vaccination campaign to all adults.
Yeah, I was waiting since a very long time. And I just got really excited when I got to know that 19 plus, that now the vaccinations have been open for the 19 age plus.
Since COVID started, since the thought of a vaccine, I was waiting for my date to come. I was waiting and finally it came and now I'm here to get vaccinated.
After a vaccine diplomacy booster from China, Pakistan is now ramping up its vaccination campaign. On Tuesday, Pakistani authorities launched a locally produced version of the Chinese CanSino vaccine, dubbed PakVac. A facility in Islamabad is now processing, sterilizing and packing the vaccines with a capacity to roll out 3 million doses a month.
As a country which considers itself to be the best friend of China and iron brother of China, it gives us immense pride and joy to see the development that has taken place.
Pakistan has also received over 100,000 doses of Pfizer's mRNA jab from the COVAX vaccine sharing scheme. Those have been earmarked for overseas students and workers travelling to countries where the Chinese vaccine isn't recognised. But there is a long road ahead. Pakistan has so far fully vaccinated 2 million people, just 1% of its 220 million population.
And now for the weather. Present weather is cloudy skies with a moderate breeze of 13 miles per hour from the east-southeast. The temperature is 30 degrees Celsius or 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Seas are moderate with waves of 4 to 6 feet. A small craft caution is now in effect mainly for the northern and eastern side of the islands. The weather forecast in St. Kitts and Nevis for today says to expect partly cloudy skies, becoming cloudy at times with a 60% or moderate chance of showers. And for tonight, partly cloudy skies with a 40% or moderate chance of showers. Sunset today will be at 6:43 p.m., sunrise tomorrow at 5:36 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jason Davis.